How does a high school class turn into hundreds of red marbles in less than 30 seconds? Quietly, almost cheerfully, while a smiling Japanese doll watches from the desk where the teacher used to be standing. By the time you understand what this doll wants, your favorite character will already be gone. Because this film isn't really about the games. It's about a boy who asked the gods for something interesting, and what they gave him, and what it cost. His name is Shun Takahata. He's a high school student in Tokyo, and he's the kind of bored that comes from being smarter than everything around you. School isn't a challenge, his classmates aren't a challenge. The world he's been handed feels too small for the brain he's been given. So one day, in his own head, he asks the gods for something different. Something interesting. Other gifted kids across Japan ask the same thing at the same time. Something hears them. By the time he gets to school the next morning, the rules are already in motion. He just doesn't know it yet. Then his teacher bursts apart in front of him. Not the way you're imagining it. The teacher doesn't shatter into anything graphic. He bursts, and instead of leaving something horrifying, he leaves hundreds of small red marbles where the teacher had been standing. Sitting on the desk now is the Daruma doll, and it starts talking. Some students panic and run for the door. The Daruma turns, way faster than a doll should ever move, and they're gone before they get to the handle. More red marbles bouncing across the tiles. The rest freeze. That's the rule, and they figure it out by watching others fall. When the Daruma faces the blackboard, you can move. When it turns around, freeze. If it catches you moving, you're eliminated. Instantly. Then a boy with glasses speaks up. His name is Satake. Quiet, sharp, the kind of student you don't notice until he's the only one in the room still thinking. Satake explains the whole thing. They're trapped inside a game called Daruma-san ga Koronda, an old Japanese version of red light, green light. Then he points at the doll's back. There's a button. Press it and the game ends. That's the only way out. For a second, everyone has hope. Then one student decides to be clever. While the Daruma is speaking slowly, he sprints at it. The Daruma senses him. It finishes the sentence at an impossible speed and spins. He's eliminated before he can blink. Then the class notices the timer on the doll's back. Less than a minute left. Instead of staying calm, most of them rush the doll all at once. Bodies fall everywhere. By the time the panic settles, only 2 students are still standing, Shun and Satake. They have 10 seconds. Satake bends down on his knees and makes himself a platform. He tells Shun to use his back. Shun jumps. He hits the button. 1 second left on the timer. The Daruma goes silent. They cheer. They grab each other in relief. They've survived. Then Satake is gone too. The Daruma announces the rule it had never bothered to share. Only the person who presses the button wins. Satake had built the staircase. He hadn't climbed it, so he didn't survive. Shun is the only one left in a classroom full of marbles. The Daruma speaks one more time. It says Shun is a mouse, and the cat is coming next. The door opens. A girl stumbles in, pale, shaking. Ichika Akamoto, Shun's childhood friend from the classroom next door. She's just survived her own Daruma game. But in hers, when she pressed the button, every classmate around her was eliminated automatically. Shun tells her the same thing happened to him. He pulls out his phone, ready to call the police. No signal. He suggests they leave the building. Every door is locked, except one, the one leading to the gymnasium. The second they walk through, it slams shut behind them. Inside the gym, more survivors are already there. Some of them are dressed in full-body white mouse costumes that cover their faces. Shun spots kanji written on the floor. Instructions. Give the bell to the cat. One of the costume students is insistent. Everyone should put on a mouse costume. He doesn't know what will happen if they don't, but the costumes are there for a reason. Before anyone can decide, the floor opens in the middle of the gym. A giant maneki neko rises up. The Japanese lucky cat, porcelain white, smiling, with a basketball hoop hanging from a collar around its neck. Music starts playing. The cat moves. It devours one of the costume students immediately, then another. Its neck stretches like a spring, swallowing them whole. The cat ignores Ichiko when she runs past it. It ignores Shun. It only wants the mice. Ichika spots a bell rolling across the floor. They have to throw the bell through the hoop. That's the game. A basketball player from the gathered students steps up, perfect for the job. Ichika tosses him the bell. He takes the shot. The cat blocks it mid-air and throws the bell back hard enough to hurl him into the wall. He doesn't get up. The cat looks right at Shun. Shun braces for it, but the cat turns away and goes after another costumed student. That's when he understands. He shouts to the others, "Take off the costumes." The cat is hunting mice. They strip, they think they're safe. They aren't. The Maneki Neko starts attacking everyone, costume or not. Ichika trips and falls next to the bell. 3 minutes on the clock. The cat opens its mouth above her, and Shun does something insane. He puts on a mouse costume, on purpose, to pull the cat's attention off Ichika. He runs from side to side across the gym, dodging the giant porcelain creature, drawing fire he doesn't know he can survive. Then he hears a voice. Because he's wearing the costume, he can understand what the cat is actually saying. And the cat isn't angry. It isn't trying to harm them out of malice. It has an itch on its back. It just wants someone to scratch it so it can sleep. Shun runs to the back of the cat and climbs up using the ropes on its decoration. He starts scratching. The cat makes a sound almost like a purr. Shun calls the others up. Ichika climbs first, then everyone else. They scratch together until the giant Maneki Neko slowly falls asleep. Shun climbs down. He grabs the bell. He gets ready to throw. That's when the other students rush him. Everyone has remembered what the Daruma had said. Only the one who throws it survives. So they fight each other for the bell. They shout. The noise wakes the cat up. The first thing it does is cut down 2 of them with a single swipe. Shun has to think fast. He finds a torn basketball in the equipment. He grabs Ichika and pulls her to the locker room. There they wrap the real bell inside the torn ball, hidden in the middle, and disguise both objects with the discarded mouse costumes. Then they come out approaching the cat from opposite sides. The cat is confused. 2 threats, 2 directions, no idea which one to block. Then Shun makes a mistake. He lets the cat see he's holding the ball, so the cat zeroes in on him. But that's the point, because the bell isn't separate from the ball. It's hidden inside it. He throws, he misses. The ball goes wide. The cat looks smug. The students look broken. They're about to lose. And then someone jumps out of nowhere above the cat. Takaru Amaya, a student no one had really paid attention to. He catches the falling ball mid-air and slam dunks the bell straight through the hoop. The Maneki Neko shuts down. A few seconds later, the cat reactivates and announces the winners. Amaya, Shun, Ichika. Where are the others? Shun turns just in time to see Amaya walking through them with an iron bar, knocking each one out cold, methodically, like he's finishing chores. Amaya walks over to Shun and smiles. He says they've been chosen by God. Only the worthy survive. People like them. He looks at Ichika and says she has no right to compare herself to Shun. She isn't on their level. Ichika tells him he's insane. He steps toward her. Shun puts himself between them. That's when the cat releases gas. All 3 of them go down. All over the planet, people are already trying to make sense of it. Students are disappearing. Giant white cubes have started spawning in the sky above major cities out of nothing. Nobody knows what they are. People start calling the kids inside them the children of God. Shun wakes up in a bright white room he's never seen before. 3 other people are in there with him. Takase, a girl who'd been his classmate years ago, before she transferred to another school. Someone he hadn't seen in a long time. Taira, arrogant, sharp, the kind of guy who introduces himself by telling you how smart he is. And Tauka, quiet, terrified, looking like she might not last another 5 minutes. Shun realizes something fast. Every name in the room starts with the letter T, his own. Takase, Taira, Taioka. The cube is sorting survivors alphabetically into separate rooms, which means Ichika, whose surname starts with A, is somewhere else in the cube, probably alone. He starts banging on the door. He has to reach her. Taira stops him. Taira activates a hologram in the middle of the room. News footage from around the world. Cubes hovering over every major city. Trapped students. There's nowhere to run. The only option is the next game. Then someone knocks on the door from the outside. The door unlocks itself. 4 wooden Kokeshi dolls drift in. The Kokeshi explain the game. Kagome Kagome, an old Japanese children's song. One person sits blindfolded in the middle of a circle. The dolls walk around them singing. When the song ends, the player has 10 seconds to guess which Kokeshi is standing behind them. Right answer, you live. Wrong answer, you're eliminated. They invite Taira first. Taira is thrilled. His moment. The smartest guy in the room about to prove it. The song ends. He hesitates. He guesses wrong. One of the Kokeshi opens its eyes and shoots a beam at his forehead. The beam takes control of his body. Taira is forced to slam his own head against the floor until he's gone. The Kokeshi invite Tauka next. She refuses. She backs against the wall, crying. One of the dolls calmly tells her refusing is the same as eliminating yourself, so she might as well try. With nothing to lose, she sits down. She's so terrified she can't think. The song ends. The 10 seconds begin. She freezes. Time runs out. She tries to run. The 4 Kokeshi surround her. Each of them shoots their beam at her, but this time they don't make her hurt herself. Each doll grabs one of her limbs and pulls in a different direction. She's torn apart in front of him. The Kokeshi invite Takase next. She's visibly shaking. She won't survive this. Shun steps forward and says he'll go in her place. The dolls accept. He sits down. He lets them tie the blindfold. The Kokeshi circle him, singing the old song. The song ends. 10 seconds start counting. He waits. He says nothing. 6 seconds in, one of the dolls announces that time is up. Shun shouts out which doll is behind him. The Kokeshi protest. Time had expired. He tells them no. He'd recorded everything in his head. They'd ended the count at 6 seconds, not 10. He'd answered within the time allowed. Then he explains how he knew. The Kokeshi kept the same formation across all 3 rounds. The same doll spoke each time. By tracking which one talked and when, he could map exactly where each of them stood without ever seeing them. The 4 dolls freeze. Then they crumble into dust. A single key appears in the ashes. Shun and Takase walk out into a corridor. A student comes running toward them, terrified, holding a key. Behind him drifts a 5th Kokeshi, bigger and stranger than the others. The student shouts the rule as he runs. This Kokeshi hunts anyone who's alone. If you hold someone's hand, it leaves you alone. That's the only protection. Shun and Takase grab his hand. The Kokeshi drifts past, decides they're a group, and goes off looking for someone solitary. 2 keys between them. Then they hear a scream. Around the next corner, Ichika comes running alone with the lonely Kokeshi closing in behind her. Shun lets go of Takase's hand and lunges for Ichika. He catches hers just in time. The doll loses interest and drifts off. Takase stands there for a moment. She doesn't say anything. She just takes the other boy's hand and keeps walking. She had loved Shun quietly for years. He'd let go of her hand the second Ichika needed help. There was nothing to argue about. They reach the next room. A giant smiling wooden head is built into the wall. 7 keyholes across its forehead. A timer beside it. 2 other students are already there with 2 more keys. Shun's group has 4. They're short by 3. 2 minutes on the clock. Then someone throws 3 keys at their feet. Amaya walks in. He has 3 keys, plus another student with him. The one he'd been holding hands with to get past the lonely Kokeshi. Now that they're in the group, he doesn't need that student anymore. He swats him aside and finishes him. 7 students remain. 7 keys. The math works. Shun doesn't want him there. He has no choice. They turn the keys at the same time. The wooden head opens a tunnel. On the other side, the air goes cold. The next room is snow-covered and freezing. A giant polar bear comes snowboarding into view, doing tricks, more cartoon than monster. He finishes with a flourish and introduces himself. His name is Shirokuma, White Bear. He hates lies. The game is simple. He'll ask questions. Everyone has to answer honestly. He'll smell out any lie. If someone lies, the group has 2 minutes to vote on who they think it is. The accused will be taken out. Get the wrong person, the game punishes everyone. First question, favorite food? Everyone answers. The bear sniffs and announces a lie has been told. Panic. Accusations. A minute in, the group settles on a target. The boy Shun and Takase had been holding hands with in the corridor. He insists he's telling the truth. The group votes guilty anyway. The bear crushes him with the back of his giant paw. Next question. The bear asks if they all like Shun. Ichika says yes. Takase says yes. Amaya says yes. Everyone says yes. Shun says no. The bear announces a lie. Ichika instantly accuses Amaya. Earlier in the gym, he'd tried to eliminate them. He had no right to claim he liked Shun. They start arguing. Shun steps in with a different question. Why would anyone lie when they knew lying could cost them everything? The bear laughs. Then he reveals the real rule. One of them isn't human. One of them is a servant of the gods, planted there to lie and make the group eliminate each other. The challenge isn't honesty. It's spotting the imposter. The two students from the other school reached the same conclusion at the same time. Almost everyone in the group knew each other already. Only one person had come from a completely different school. Takase. Shun and Ichika try to defend her. The vote happens anyway. The bear takes her down with one strike. All that's left is a wide pool spreading across the white floor, and as the liquid spreads, it touches Shirokuma's fist. The white paint begins to dissolve. Black fur shows underneath. The bear is black. Shun steps forward. He tells Shirokuma he's figured it out. The liar is the bear himself. The pool had washed the paint off and revealed the truth. Shirokuma had lied about his own color from the start, which meant everything else he'd said had to be a lie too. There was never an imposter. He'd been making them eliminate each other for nothing. Shirokuma is furious. He's been caught. He jumps at the group, trying to crush them. They scatter. He misses and lands in a hot spring at the edge of the cave. The boiling water finishes him from the inside. He admits defeat. Before he's gone, he opens the passage to the final game. Now stop. Every game so far has followed the same pattern. Figure out the rules, find the trick, survive. And Shun has been brilliant at every single one. He worked out the Daruma, he listened to the cat, he memorized the Kokeshi, he exposed Shirokuma. But Satake didn't make it, Taira didn't make it, Tauka didn't make it, Takase didn't make it. Everyone who panicked, everyone who trusted the wrong people, gone. The final game. 5 players left. Shun, Ichika, Amaya, and 2 students from the other school who'd survived their own track of games to get here. The location is strange. A castle by the sea with a tower, a paved circle on the ground, and painted scenery in the distance that looks more like a film set than reality. A small group of wooden matryoshka dolls floats in. The Russian nesting kind. Smiling, eerie. The game is called Kick the Can, an underworld version of hide and seek. One player will be chosen as Akuma, the devil, the chaser. Akuma has to grab a can from a high place, drop it in the center of the circle, then hunt everyone down. To capture someone, Akuma has to shout their name, then stomp on the can. That player goes to a cell. Akuma's goal is 3 captures, then to stop the last free player from kicking the can. Because if any free player kicks the can, all prisoners would be released. But there's a catch. The dolls say the can has explosives in it. Whoever kicks it won't make it. Saving the others means sacrificing yourself. Then the matryoshka pulls wooden sticks out of its mouth. One is marked. Whoever draws it becomes Akuma. Amaya draws it. The most dangerous person in the group becomes the hunter, and the others have nowhere left to go. Amaya doesn't even wait for the dolls to finish. He kicks one of them out of the way, grabs the can, and slams it into the center of the circle. The other students haven't even reached cover yet. The hunt starts immediately. The 2 students from the other school try to fight him together, 2 on 1. They think they have a shot. They don't. Amaya isn't just dangerous, he's unnaturally strong. He takes both of them down, shouts their names, stomps the can, and sends them to the cell. 2 caught. 1 more for the win. Ichika is hiding nearby. She gets careless for a second. Amaya spots her, and that gives away Shun's position too, hiding in the spot next to her. Shun sees what's about to happen. He has to pull Amaya away from Ichika and reach the can himself. He ties a rope to a heavy object and starts lowering himself down toward the can from a higher position. Amaya runs to Ichika's spot and starts banging on the door. She knows she can't escape with Shun. The math is against them, so she makes a choice. She comes out alone, hoping that if Amaya already has his third capture, he won't bother chasing Shun. She walks out in front of him. Amaya doesn't even bother shouting her name. He just knocks her unconscious and leaves her there. Then he runs up to find Shun. Up top, Amaya finds only the rope. No Shun. Down below, Shun is already moving to a new hiding spot. He knows Amaya will camp the can. Amaya calls out across the castle. He tells Shun he's already caught 3. The game is technically over. They can just be friends now. They can both survive. Shun knows it's a lie. He finds a suit of plate armor inside the castle and puts it on. The rules said Akuma had to see your face to capture you. With the helmet on, his face is hidden. The armor is so heavy he can barely move. He stumbles out toward the circle near the cliff edge, looking ridiculous, and drops his sword. Clumsy, defenseless. Amaya catches up. He laughs at the whole setup. Then he reaches over and pulls the helmet off, exposing Shun's face. Then Amaya looks down. A heavy iron chain is looped around his waist, linked to Shun's armor. He hadn't noticed it being attached while he was busy gloating. That was the real plan. Before stepping out, Shun had connected the chain to his own armor. When Amaya leaned in to pull the helmet off, Shun had wrapped the other end around him. Now they're tied together, and Shun is standing at the edge of the cliff. He jumps. They fall together. The second Shun hits the water, he starts shedding the armor underwater. Amaya is stuck, fighting against the combined weight of the armor and the chain just to stay above the surface. Shun climbs back up the wall while Amaya is trapped below. Amaya eventually breaks loose and starts climbing too. He's faster than Shun, stronger, but Shun has the head start. Shun reaches the can. The sun is setting. He kicks it. Everyone braces for the explosion. Nothing happens. The Matryoshka dolls reappear and announce the truth. The can had never been explosive. They'd lied. The whole punishment was a story, just like Shirokuma had been a lie. The fear itself was the test. Would anyone be willing to sacrifice themselves for the others? Amaya is furious. He thought he'd lost. The dolls tell him no. No one will be eliminated now. The challenge is over. Fireworks go up. The Matryoshkas hand each surviving player an ice cream popsicle. They have to eat them before they can leave. Shun sits down with Ichika. They eat together. They talk about what they do when they get out of this. Normal things, future things. The kind of conversation you have when you've come through something impossible and you're ready to start living again. Halfway through his popsicle, Shun notices something written on his stick. He smiles. He thinks it's a reward. He shows it to Ichika. That's when he sees her face. She's crying. Her own popsicle stick says the opposite of his. It says she's eliminated. The Matryoshka dolls explain. Every challenge had tested a different skill. Intelligence, observation, loyalty, sacrifice. But the final factor wasn't anything they could control. Luck, fate, the will of the gods. Each popsicle stick had been pre-decided. Their destiny had been written on them before they'd even taken the first lick. Shun said he would continue. Amaya said he would continue. Ichika's didn't. Neither did the 2 unconscious students from the cell. The Matryoshkas fire. Ichika disintegrates in front of him. So do the others. Nothing left but the trace of where they'd been. She did everything right, and a popsicle stick decided she wouldn't continue. The cube absorbs them and lifts them to the top. Suddenly, Shun and Amaya are standing on the roof of the giant white cube hovering above Tokyo. The whole city can see them. The whole world can see them. Broadcast on every screen. People are cheering, worshiping. They're calling them the children of God. Amaya raises his arms. He loves every second of it. This was what he'd wanted from the start. The recognition, the glory, the proof that he was chosen. The Matryoshkas speak one last time. They explain what comes next. 2 paths. One of them will walk the path of destruction and become a Hakaishin, a god of destruction. The other will walk the path of the end and become a Shinigami, a god of the afterlife. The film doesn't say which one is which. It doesn't need to. This film isn't asking whether you would survive. It's asking something much harder. Shun wished for something exciting. He got it. He came through it through intelligence, observation, and caring about the people around him when Amaya only ever cared about himself. He did everything right, and it didn't save Ichika, or Satake, or Takase, or anyone whose name happened to be on the wrong popsicle stick. That's the point of the story. Every challenge tested skill, loyalty, whether you'd sacrifice yourself for others or betray them for yourself. Shun passed every test. He outsmarted the Daruma, listened to the cat, memorized the Kokeshi, exposed Shirakuma, chained Amaya, and then a random lottery on a stick of ice cream took the girl he cared about most. Because that's what "as the gods will" means. Not wisdom, not justice. It just means this is what was decided. You don't get to know why. You don't get to point at your choices and say, "Look, I earned this." The gods don't care what you earned. Skill kept Shun alive long enough to lose everything that mattered. And the film ends before you find out whether becoming a god of destruction or a god of the afterlife is a reward or a punishment. Maybe there's no difference. Would you rather have played and lost, or never played at all? Leave your answer in the comments. Subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.